Hi, this is Doug Nesbitt, Director of Affinity Partnerships for CMG Financial. And this is a presentation on how to do a dark post of the testimonial videos that you'll find on the Home Fund at Realtor Portal. It's a great way to extend your reach and grow your client base. The process is actually not very hard, although this presentation has a number of slides to it. But what I recommend is to watch it all the way through the first time, and then when you're ready to get going and do your own dark post, just have this open in a separate browser window and play it and pause it as you go through the process yourself in a separate browser window. Okay, let's get going. So what is a dark post? Sounds rather ominous, but it's not. It's also known as an unpublished post. And it's different than a regular post or even a boosted post. A regular post is a post that we're all very familiar with. It shows up on your Facebook timeline. Your followers see it. It happens one time, and it's very easily done. You simply write an update and you hit post. For a boosted post, that's a way of taking your already existing post and getting it out there a little bit further. Of course, it shows up in your timeline, but it also shows up on targeted recipients' timelines as well. And it allows you to reach a larger targeted audience, still one time, but it allows you to get out there and get your post seen by more people. Very simple to do. Dark post is a little bit different. In fact, it's somewhat the opposite. It allows you to post, but not to your followers' timelines. Instead, it reaches targeted recipients' timelines, and your followers won't see your post. It allows you to, similar to a boosted post, see a larger targeted audience. One of the things that's different is it can be seen multiple times so that you can build frequency. Sometimes people need to see something several times to be able to act on it. And it's done a little bit differently from a regular post. You're actually creating an ad. The advantages here, similar to a boosted post, you reach a larger audience. Another big advantage is that you avoid follower burnout, so that when you're posting something to your followers over and over and over, eventually they get tired of hearing from you. We're all familiar with that. And this allows you to test out different audiences. You can see who's reacting to a post, and you can also test different ads, and see who's reacting to that as well. So dark post starts to give you a lot of advertising control over messaging to a wider audience, and that's why they're useful. It takes a little bit more time to set these up, but they have a huge amount of horsepower. One of the main prerequisites for creating a dark post is to have a Facebook page, not a Facebook profile, but a Facebook page. And that allows you to do some advertising and obviously to have a huge number of followers as well. It's very easy to convert your profile to a page, and there's a whole separate process for that which I don't cover here in this video. But once you've got your Facebook page set up, you'll want to have your business manager account set up so that it connects all the various elements that you'll need to get started with advertising and assign those assets to it. If you've never used Business Manager before, once you have Business Manager open, each one of these sections that I'm going to point out allows you to add the appropriate item very easily. So you just go to that section, add in that part, and you'll be off to the races. First off is your page. Once you have Business Manager open, add the page that you would like to work with, and obviously the default is your Facebook page, and an ad account as well. It allows you to connect that to Business Manager, and the ad account is where we'll be actually building the ad. And then lastly, form of payment, like boosted post, dark post costs money as well, so you'll need to have your credit card set up in Business Manager as well. Once you have those things, you're ready to go. Okay, to get started creating a new campaign, you'll want to be logged into the Facebook account that you use to manage your Facebook page. And when you get there, go to the Ads Manager. And if you're having trouble finding that, just go in the top menu, way over on the right in the drop-down, pull that down and look for Business Manager. And under Business Manager, you'll see a link to Manage Ads. And that'll take you to the Ads Manager. And then once you're there, you can actually bookmark this. It's at facebook.com/ads/manager. And that way you'll have a quick way to go there directly anytime that you want. When you get there, what you see among other things on the page are 4 tabs: Account Overview, Campaigns, Ad Sets, and Ads. The campaign is a way to think about this sort of like an umbrella over your full ad campaign, and you can have numerous ad sets and numerous ads running within your campaign. And then you can have multiple campaigns as well. Each of these tabs allows you to report on what's going on at that level within your campaign. What we want to do is start by setting up a campaign, and then we'll build out ad sets to go underneath it, and we'll build out some ads as well. The ad sets are things like targeting and so forth, and the ads are the actual pieces of creative that your target audience is going to see. So to get started, we'll want to start by setting up a campaign. So click on the Campaigns tab. It turns blue when you do that. And then click on the green Create button. The first thing you do in setting up a campaign is to state your objective, your marketing objective, and that should be to drive traffic to your realtor page. So where it says under consideration here, select traffic. Next thing you want to do is give your campaign a name. And it helps to put some kind of a date code on it of some sort so that when you're creating multiple campaigns, you can remember when you set them up. And they're a lot easier to identify if you remember the date that you were working on them. And then give it a few other codes here like Home Fund It, Video Campaign, and Brooke. This is the name of the video that we're going to be sharing with our target audience. So I've just put the date, Home Fund It, Video, Brooke. You can name it anything you want basically, but as long as you can remember and it's specific, then just hit continue. Okay, now that we've defined the campaign name, it's time to set up a ad set for that campaign. And a campaign can have multiple ad sets. We're going to show you to do one of them, and then we'll create an ad to go with it. So choose the tab for create a new ad set, and you're going to want to give your ad set a name. Generally the name for an ad set is related to the target audience that you're about to pick, and in this case I've just said house hunters in my area, but it can be anything that you want it to be. So have it be descriptive for the type of target audience. And if you're going to do multiple ad sets, let's say you're going to test multiple target audiences, each one of these would have a name that describes that kind of target audience. And here's a list of some examples. Engaged house hunters, people who are married and looking for a house, older homeowners, younger homeowners, people who work in a certain profession, healthcare, let's say, renters within a certain radius, and I'll show you how to do that. Sports fans near me. So basically you can look at different types of target audiences and create ad sets for each one of them. You'll want to name them a name that goes with that type of target. So now that you've named your ad set, it's time to pick a target audience. So in the audience panel, which follows next, choose the Create New tab, and that'll let you get started creating a brand new target audience. Skip over custom audiences because that's a whole separate topic, and we'll go right into actually picking out our target audience manually. The first thing is to define a location, so select that. And the first thing here is to use this drop down that says people who live in this location. You're going to want to make sure that you target people who live in a certain location and aren't just passing through or have general interest in that area. It has to be people who say they live in that area. Otherwise you'll be getting people who probably live somewhere else. Enter a city and state right under where it says United States, and you can do multiple cities and states, and as you start typing it you'll see the city and state suggestions start to populate, and you can do multiples of those. Adjust the radius around your city and state simply by moving the slider or doing the mileage around the center point manually. And over on the right what you'll see is the current audience size based on that radius that you're picking, and it's the potential reach for your ad. It also gives you an estimated daily results reach in terms of how many people you'll be hitting each day and how many link clicks you should expect from that, kind of based on some averages that they have built into the system. The main thing here is to get a geographic radius around where you're marketing and to get that audience size one that is somewhat sizable but not like too big. The next thing you'll want to do is to select an age range. 25 to 50 is a pretty good age range for home buyers. Obviously too young, it's going to be too early, and too old, you're going to get people who are already well along in their home ownership career and probably less likely to want to move. Doesn't mean you can't target those groups, but you'll get better results in the 25 to 50 range. Also want to choose gender. In this case, I've chosen all. And the language, since our ad's going to be in English, we're going to want to use English all as our language. Continuing on with the targeting, we're going to want to add and exclude people with specific interests and so forth. So in the detailed targeting panels, you can include and exclude targets with specific interests or job titles or employers, etc. In this case, I'm just working with interests first. So we're looking for people who are interested in buying a home. So start typing various interests and you'll see the suggestions feature go to work. And one of the things you're going to want to be careful about is sometimes you'll type an interest that also is an employer. So be sure to choose the one that says interest if that's what you're interested in targeting on. In this case, I've selected interests like first-time buyer, Homes.com, Trulia, Zillow, Redfin. You know, these are things that people typically do when they are looking for a home. They go on Zillow, they go on Trulia, they go on Redfin, they go on Homes.com. They use a mortgage calculator. New home is a good interest for people who are shopping a home. House hunting, great one. So start typing those in. There's a whole bunch of those in there, and as you start typing in the word house, you'll see, or home, you'll start to see suggestions around that, and you can add that to your interest list. So I've got a few here. And here's a little table that shows some things to definitely include. But there's also things you want to exclude. And those are people who are in the industry, people you're not going to actually sell anything to, people whose job titles begin with mortgage or real estate. So start typing in the word mortgage and you'll start to see job titles and companies that have to do with mortgage and real estate. And you'll want to exclude those in the exclude box so that your ad doesn't reach those people and get inadvertent clicks that you have to pay for. Okay, we've done a number of steps to create that audience, so we'll want to just do that one time, and then we can use that over and over if we save it. So let's give it a name, our audience name, and in this case I've used Reno homebuyers because that was the radius I was using geographically. And we've got all those things that we've excluded and included in the language and the age range. All that stuff can be saved, so hit the blue Save button. And then one of the interesting things is that after saving, you'll notice that if you go back to the audience panel and take a look at it, you'll see that it's already switched over to use a saved audience. And you'll see Reno homebuyers, the one you just saved, as the one that you're currently using. And again, it's a great way to, in the future when you're setting up another ad set, pull up that same audience and reuse it. You can create different audiences and different job titles, let's say different includes and different excludes, and name them different things and then come back and use those ad sets later in future campaigns. Each ad set can have a separate budget and a separate schedule. So imagine in your campaign if you had multiple ad sets, some of them could have a lot more spending against them, some of them could have different time lengths of time. So in this one, for this ad set, we're going to want to go into the budget and schedule section and assign a budget dollar amount. And what we like to do is to use a lifetime budget in this case and a cap amount. That's the maximum amount that you're going to spend for this ad set over this schedule. And it allows you to predict what your spending is going to be. And the other nice thing about that is it doesn't limit you on a daily basis. It lets Facebook drive that based on what it sees available for you to be able to advertise to. And you don't end up coming up short on a given date where there's a lot of target audience online. So let it do its thing in the background. Just keep an eye on the total amount for that ad set. And then you're going to want to set up the schedule for when you want that to start and when you want that to end. Now down below that area you'll see a link for Show Advanced Options. Pop that open and you'll you'll be able to optimize the ad delivery a little bit. And in this case, we're going to want to go for link clicks. So look down for where it says in the drop-down link clicks, and that's going to drive the ad towards people who are most likely to click on that ad and give you the traffic that you're looking for. Next, you set up your bid strategy. And so in the bid strategy section, you check set a bid cap, and this keeps you from spending too much money on any given click. Facebook has a dynamic pricing model, and what you're going to want to do is set a fairly low cap on a cost per click basis, something around $2 for this industry, and that makes sure that your budget doesn't get burned up by some expensive clicks if you have a fairly limited budget. So that sets up your ad set. It's all done. Look for the green continue button in the bottom right corner, and we'll move on to the next section. Okay, now it's time to create the actual ad that your target audience is going to see. So the first thing we do, as usual, is give it a name. Now the name I've chosen here, Home Funded Brook Video Ad, is a fairly generic name. If you're doing multiple ads for a given ad set, you're testing different headlines, let's say, you may want to be a little bit more descriptive on the name. But for now, this general name is going to work. The next thing you do is choose the format for your ad. What type of ad are you going to be showing your target audience? In this case, we're using a single image ad that we're going to try to get people to look at and click on. Next, you want to supply an image for your ad. In this case, the image needs to be something that's appropriate for getting people to come to your Realtor portal and view this video. So the obvious choice is something from the video. There's two ways to do that. One is do your own video screen grab, or use the one that we supply in the separate document. If you're doing your own video screen grab, it can be any scene from the video. Stop the video, do a screen grab, save it to your computer, and then upload that here. Or use the one that we supply in the help document, and you can save that and then upload that here where it says to add the image. The next thing we do is set up the ad text, things like the body copy and the headline, as well as the actual link that takes them to your custom video. So the first thing we'll do is set up the ad text under the links section, and that text can be something you copy off of our help document. It's what we recommend. So find that in the marketing section and go back to that and grab this text. The other thing you'll want to do is set up the URL for the destination. That destination URL is the one that leads them to your custom video player. And the way to do that is just open that video in the marketing section of your portal, and in the center, right underneath the video image, you'll see that URL there. Copy that and copy that into the website URL here. And then also set up a headline for your ad, and that's something that's going to grab their attention, hopefully, like tired of paying rent. That's a good headline, something short and impactful. You want to get them to read the short amount of text that you have underneath it and click on the actual URL. One thing that actually makes it easy is, and one of the big differences with dark posts is that you can select a button for them to click, and so that's a call to action. You can choose a button with all kinds of different names. In this case, I've used one that says learn more in here, but having that call to action button is a key difference between this and a boosted post. This is more like an ad, and that button obviously is one of the ways that does that. And so then when you're done entering all that information, click the green confirm button in the lower right, and you are done creating your ad. Okay, now that we've built our ad, it automatically takes you back to the Ads Manager main screen. And if you look at the second tab here that says Campaigns, you'll see the campaign that we built, 112118 HFI Video Brook. That's the campaign that we just finished building. If you move over to the Ad Sets tab, you'll see the ad set that we built, the House Hunters in My Area ad set, and correspondingly, if you go over to the Ad tab, the last one, you'll see the ad that we just built. And there's actually a little picture here that you can see too. So you can see our campaign, and underneath it the ad set, and underneath the ad set you'll see the actual ad. And again, you can have multiple ad sets testing different audiences. You can have multiple ads testing different ads within any given ad set. One of the things that you'll notice that is next to each one of these, sort of to the left, is a little toggle slider to run or shut down that level. So you can turn on and off individual ads, you can turn on and off individual ad sets containing ads, and you can turn on and off entire campaigns. If the campaign level is turned off, like I've got it here, that means that that campaign is not running and anything underneath it will not run. So it's a great way to turn on and off stuff at different levels if you need to. The campaign usually takes a couple hours to be approved by Facebook, and it goes active shortly after that, as long as you've got the sliders on. And this is where your ad results will start to display here. You can edit the various columns. You can break down the results different ways and run reports. So play around with the columns that you want to see and the reports. It's really yours to be able to kind of control and manage your campaigns. Okay, now that your campaign is up there and running, results are going to start to come in on your ad manager. And one of the metrics that you're going to want to keep an eye on is impressions. It's a general measure of the amount of activity and how many times your ad is being shown. Probably more meaningful is the number of unique viewers. That's how many individuals are watching, have seen your ad. And one way to kind of get a sense for are you reaching a lot of people is to compare that reach number to that potential audience number that you saw when you were setting up your ad set and doing the targeting. Remember, that's where we put in the geography and the interests and things like that. Over on the right hand side was that potential audience number. And you want to compare your reach in your ad set in your campaign to that potential audience to see how you're doing digging into that potential audience. So if you've reached 2,000 viewers and that potential audience was originally 40,000, that means you've reached only 5% of your audience, and you can run that campaign longer. The other metric that's really important to keep an eye on is frequency, and that's how many times did the average viewer see your ad. That number is generally impressions divided by reach. So if I had 500 impressions and 250 people were reached, that means that the average person saw it 2 times, 500 divided by 250. A little bit about frequency. When you're seeing an ad less than 3 times as a frequency, you probably haven't gotten the most out of that ad yet, and you could probably run it a little bit more. If your frequency is in the 3, 4, 5 range, that's a pretty good target for maximum results. That means that people have seen the ad a few times and they're going to have decided whether or not to click on your ad. Once you get a frequency above around 5 or so, your ad's going to start to experience burnout. And that means that people have seen it a whole bunch of times and they're either going to click or not click. So it's time to move on to a different ad, create a new fresh ad for people to see, or get a wider target audience so that you're speaking to a different group of people. And make sure that when you're running your campaign, you're looking for things that are off of the ad manager, things like calls and messages and contact forms that are going to be coming in by email. Be sure to check your spam folder because they're coming in from people that you haven't dealt with before, so sometimes their emails and contacts come in spam, or in the junk folder. So make sure you're watching to make sure that things are actually getting to you and keeping track. So you want to keep track of calls and messages and make sure that you're managing your marketing campaign to make sure that you're knowing whether you're getting something for a given spend. And when you do talk to people, ask them, hey, did you see my ad? Where did you come from? That kind of a thing. So that's it. That's how you set up a dark post on Facebook and how you get people to come and look at your video player on your Realtor portal and expand your audience and grow your customer base. So good luck with that, and let us know how we can help you along the way.